Washington, D.C. We're the home of the White House, the Capitol, and a lot of museums. But I'm going to take you someplace you may not have been. It's called the Wharf. This is the National Harbor. I told you we were going to the Wharf, but we have to buy the tickets here. So since we're here, let's go ahead and appreciate the National Harbor. Let's talk about it for a little bit. Now here at the National Harbor, we have a lot of restaurants and we have a lot of condominiums. And there's a lot of things to do here, but it's mainly a social area. They have what you call date night. There's like a huge television, and I didn't get to record it, but that's where people would sit on, I think it's like AstroTurf, and they could sit down and watch a movie. And this is usually during the summertime. We have that big wheel there. That's the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. And they have a lot of areas, well not a lot, but they have 2 areas where kids can play around. Basically kids can play around the whole area, but they have a playground area as well. That's the area right there where kids play, and you can also sit down and watch whatever movie they might be showing on date night. As I said, there's a lot of restaurants. That's the MGM Casino. The nightlife here is pretty nice. It has a nice vibe. I'm going to say more so a family vibe than a couple's vibe. But the nightlife, the vibe in the nightlife is completely different than the vibe during the daytime. As you can see, we have already boarded the water taxi. We're just waiting for it to go on its way. And that's the sign showing that that's the National Harbor. As I said, there's a lot of hotels. There's a lot of boats at the harbor as well. That there is the Gaylord Hotel. That thing's pretty big. It looks big on the outside, but yes, when you go on the inside, you'll see it's pretty big. So let's get on our way. Our first stop is going to be the Alexandria Waterfront in Old Town, Virginia. So we're on the water taxi headed to Alexandria's waterfront. So I'll tell you about it when we get there. So we're going to just fast forward a bit until we get there. And then, like I said, we'll talk about Alexandria's waterfront. So this is Alexandria's waterfront. As you can see, it's a pretty nice looking waterfront. And just like the National Harbor, they have hotels. Well, no, maybe not hotels, but they have a lot of restaurants. Some of the restaurants are upscale. Some of them are, I guess you could say, regular. And they even have restaurants like Chipotle and so forth down here as well. This is one of the places where the water taxis dock before we get to the wharf. Now, from the National Harbor till all the way up until here, you're going to see a lot of party boats. You know, people get on these boats, they play a lot of music, they dance, you know, they just be doing their thing. You're going to see it all up and down, what is this? The Potomac. As you can see, they have a lot of boats. Some of those boats are pretty big. So I guess we're dealing with some people that got some money. I don't know what that guy's doing. I can't remember what that's called. There's a little speedboat there. Maybe not a speedboat, but As you can see, one of the water taxis are already docked. It's that yellow boat you see. And this pirate ship here, this is kind of like a novelty thing for family and friends and everything to get on there. So we're gonna fast forward here in a bit, and we're gonna take you to the docking station or the docking area at the Wharf. So here we are. Oh no, we're not at the Wharf yet, but I wanted to record this building. I didn't look up what this building is called, what it is. I didn't look any of that up. Maybe you can do that. But I figured it was a nice looking building, so I decided to go on ahead and record it and put it in this little video. It is a nice looking building. It's a historic looking building. So the next stop is the Wharf. See you when we get there. Okay, so hold up before we get started. What is this music? Man, this ain't no horror film. I gotta change this music. How about some Caribbean? Y'all wanna hear something Caribbean? Alright, let's go Caribbean and get rid of this horror music. So here we are, the Wharf. We finally made it. I give you a round of applause to make it. You did a good job. So as you can see, look at these buildings. Man, they spent a lot of money down here. You can see it. This looks really nice. There's some parts still under construction, as you can see. But this looks far more, looks like they put far more money into it than they did the National Harbor and the Alexandria Waterfront. Man. And I don't know if you caught it, but look at those boats. Those are bigger boats than at the Alexandria Waterfront. Look at that. That's a yacht. That is a yacht. I don't know who or what company owns that, but they spent some money. As you can see, I guess the people that come down here for their weekends or to come down here to be on the water, they got some money. Well, we are in DC, so, a lot of senators and congressmen and so forth and federal employees and politicians, they come down here. So, I don't know, they maybe they're the ones with those big old boats and they got some money, but the party boats do come down here also. They be blasting the music. They be on the boat partying. Oh, as you can see, that's a stage. So I guess they do music down here. But let me give you some background history about the Wharf. This used to be an undeveloped place. We used to come down here back when I was young, back in the 80s, and we come down here to get our fresh seafood. It was just dirt roads, grass. It was nothing. It was just, you're going to see the old part of the Wharf, I'll let you know. But the old Wharf, it was just a bunch of wooden structures. You come get your crabs, your shrimp, or whatever. There was no need to hang out there. Then you go home and wash the mud off your shoes. But now, look at this. Paved roads, paved walkways, upscale restaurants. This is way different than before. So they really did a good job with turning DC into a tourist attraction. But most of us from DC, we do have fond memories of the old Wharf because it was like a weekend thing. Summertime come around and your mom like, yeah, we going to the Wharf, we gonna get some crabs. They come back with that bushel and you sit down on the porch and you eating crabs all afternoon, and we had the house that was like the party house, the hangout house. So all the kids in the neighborhood would come hang out at our house, and I guess they would get a crab here and there. Now here's the old part of the Wharf. This is the original Wharf. As you can see, this is way different from all that other stuff you've seen. This is what we all know as the Wharf. All of that, I don't even think that was paved back then. I think it was just dirt. I decided to throw this statue in there. It's nice. This statue ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I don't even know who it's supposed to be of, but I think it's a nice statue. They got these, I don't know what it's made of, aluminum, steel, whatever, but they got these statues all over the place at these places in DC. But that was a nice statue. I think it's nice. What you think? It looks nice. The restaurants down here, they weren't too fond of me going in there with their camera and recording. So I didn't get any views of the restaurants from the inside. I just didn't want to risk it, and I didn't want to just keep going in there and asking them and then having people be like, no, you can't come in here and record it, because it's DC and everybody want money and people scared to be spoken poorly of. So I just went out and got the names of some restaurants, the outside views of some restaurants. That there is a outdoor fire pit. It was like 100 degrees and they got some smoke and fire going in this little pit right here. They ain't put no food on it or nothing. They just got a fire going. It was smoking up the place, and I don't like smoke, man. It was stinking. It was getting all in my clothes. Come on, man. What is this, meditation garden? Look at that. They got a fire going. It's 100 degrees already. Then you got a 200-degree fire burning. But let me not speak poorly of it. Maybe it gives you some ambiance. Maybe you might like it if you was to come here and go there. But I guess you could say that's on the boardwalk or whatever. For the Wharf, I guess it's a boardwalk. It's not wood. But whatever the case may be. But yeah, maybe you can check that out. So, but yeah, I did a little bit of walking up and down, my wife and I. I try not to, put people's faces in the camera. People were seeming a little bit apprehensive. But as you can see, it's a nice looking place. The Wharf is nice, a lot of restaurants. And I didn't even get half of it. You go up and down those streets and there's a whole lot more going on too. As my wife and I were strolling through the Wharf, we stumbled across this live band. And they sound pretty nice. They were drawing a big crowd. This is something you're going to see regularly in the Washington metropolitan area, especially during the summertime. A lot of live bands. They have a lot of old forts like Fort DuPont Park where bands come and they play like every weekend during the summertime. But like tourist areas in the Washington metropolitan area, you're going to get a lot of live music. And some of them aren't just like tourist areas like the Monument and so forth. It's like, the business areas where there's restaurants and people gather. You get a lot of live music. And these guys played pretty well. They call themselves the Too Much Talent Band. And if you could zoom in on that little sign there, they offer their services. They will play for you. And whatever the case may be, you'll have to look them up to see. But they're called the Too Much Talent Band. And we can listen to them a little bit, and you can see that these guys sound pretty good. What is that? They're a 5-man band, and it's live music, live instruments. You don't get that very often these days. Everything is synthesized with instruments in a studio. So we'll check them out a little bit. Let's hear what they sound like. Alright, so I wanted to catch this part of the wharf. This is some walkway with swings, like those chairs that you sit in and swing. See that couple swinging there? Well, they got it down the whole part of this little walkway here. You know, maybe I guess this is like lovers stroll, or maybe not just lovers are getting on those things, okay? So, alright, it don't have a name. But, you know, I just wanted to capture this because we was on our way off, not off the wharf. We were leaving the wharf, about to go back to the water taxi. So I, filmed some extra stuff. This little area here, they had like some big old party going on, and we found out that it had something to do with one of those housewives shows. I think they said it was like Desperate Housewives of PG. And those of you who don't know, PG is short for Prince George's County, Maryland. Well, those people were making a ruckus over there. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They were making a lot of noise because they was partying. They was, enjoying themselves. And behind that little pink curtain there or whatever, there was like a jumbo screen. And they were watching like a viewing of one of the shows. So they were having a big old party, it was private, nobody was allowed in there. So after that, we got on the water taxi and here we are. We're on our way back to the National Harbor. I filmed some boats. We were by Reagan National Airport, so I decided let me capture some of the planes landing. I did want to catch some of the planes taking off. And I know that's not fantastic. People have seen planes take off and land before, but I had a camera. I was by the airport, and I have memories of planes taking off and landing, but I actually wanted to get it on camera. And I actually did get to take some video of this plane landing. I think I got another plane landing too. Maybe. I ain't sure. We'll see. But yeah, look at this big old plane landing. It got lost there for a second. Here we go. Yeah, I think that's nice. I'm glad that I was able to capture a plane landing. But we're headed back to the National Harbor. I hope you liked the video. I didn't really want this to be like a tour guide, but what other story can you tell to this footage? So thanks for watching. Come to DC, hey, this is a good reference video. I'm out.